Hey, what's up, everybody? Welcome back to another episode of Transitions for More. I'm your host, Mike Urko, Marine Corps veteran. I've returned from Iraq and faced the challenges of PTSD, addiction, and grief to create a new life that is balanced and healthy in mind, body, and spirit. Each episode, I'll share some of my journey or interview inspiring veterans and subject matter experts to help us find that purpose and connection we all crave. You guys can follow the show on Instagram at Transitions for More. Join our TFW page on Facebook, Twitter, and transitionsformore.com. If you have any questions, comments, or topic ideas, feel free to email me at mike@transitionsformore.com. If you guys enjoy the show, please leave us a rating and review on iTunes or wherever you get your podcasts. All right, enough of that. Let's get to the show.
Fuck. Oh, man.
Yeah.
And
we're back.
We're back.
What's up, man?
Not much. Just living the life, man. Living the life.
I don't think people know what it took to make this happen today.
It was a lot of coordination.
Yeah, exactly. A lot of coordination. A few false starts. A couple times of falling back asleep on someone's part. That might be me. Yeah. But I'm here, and I have one tooth less than the last time we talked. So I got the motherfucker extracted.
Are you getting a replacement?
Yeah, dude.
Yeah.
Talk about dental nightmare. Friday, I got an implant for a tooth. So they basically drill a screw into your jaw.
Mm-hmm.
And that has to heal before they put the actual tooth in. So I was like, cool. All right. Day after that, on Saturday, I'm biting down on something. Fucking red vine, dude. A red vine.
Not even a hard, not even like a nut or something.
No. And another tooth cracked in half. I was like,
oh.
Ah! So I had another little emergency appointment on Monday, which I think is a couple days ago. Can't tell at this point. And got that thing extracted. So yeah, dental health, folks. And I brush my teeth, I floss. But if you got bad genetics, you got bad genetics. So
yeah, that's rough, man. I know one lady spent $60,000, and she was just like, you know what? She had problems through the whole high school, even with teeth rotting and shit. So she was just like, fuck this. And she took a loan out for $60,000 and did her whole mouth. Yeah. Like you're talking about with the screw and they have some sort of reactive metal that makes it so your jawbone builds around it.
Oh yeah.
I don't know. It's crazy, dude. And yeah, but I feel you on the just sometimes crazy stuff happens.
Exactly.
Yeah. I cut myself.
Ooh.
Yeah. It was, all right, just straight up, you if you take a can that you open somehow with a can opener,
yeah,
you understand that can is dangerous, and you put the lid in there and you're good. But with these peel open cans where you can pop the lid, drop the black beans in, whatever, I never really thought of those as dangerous. So I never bent the thing back down.
Mm-hmm.
And I was cooking, it was last Friday, and I put my hand down because I had put the meat, in the pan, and it was frying. And so I just real quick went to kind of shove it into the trash can, and I pushed down a little bit because we have one of these drawer trashes, and I wanted to make sure that it just wasn't getting all over the place. And I felt a pinch and I was like, and immediately blood started just gushing out. And I was like, oh man, this is not going to be good.
Do you swear in English, or do you swear in Russian or Estonian?
Oh, still English. That was supposedly one of the ways that Russians could tell spies, is they would torture them, and then however they swore. It's like counting and swearing you usually do in your native language.
Right.
Odd trivia. But Yeah, dude, I ended up having to go to the emergency room, got 3 stitches on my pinky finger, and I've been moving out all my swims. Like I don't want to lose them because I do think I'm getting valuable, getting better in the pool, you know. So I didn't want to just have a bunch of non-logged workouts. So with Training Peaks, I just keep pushing forward. So like if I get these removed on Monday, I'll be swimming every week next or every day next week.
Yeah.
But it's yeah, ridiculous. You know,
Yeah.
you feel like a dummy taking a shower with like one arm in the air. You know, like can't get it wet for the first 48 hours. Stupid.
Hey man, I feel you. So here I
Yeah.
am, like, because now I have a hole on fucking both sides of my mouth. So I'm like, I'm biting things like a goddamn beaver, just with my front teeth.
Oh, it's brutal.
Yeah, so cool.
Brutal. Um, so today I was kind of hoping to do like a rapid fire. I know you're probably not caffeinated yet, but do you think you can handle that?
Au
I got
contraire, mon frere.
oh
I'm
awesome.
ready.
Nice little espresso. All right. So I got 4 questions, but some have sub questions. All right.
Okay.
And so some of these are challenges I'm facing, and some that maybe other people who might be try beginners are,
Yeah.
or just training beginners. So the first question, and I'm doing a kind of program that's similar to Maffetone, but it's not exactly the same. It's 80-20 triathlon
Yeah.
programmed on Training Peaks. So,
Yeah.
but why Maffetone method? Like, why would you pick one of these where a lot of the training is in the relatively low heart rate zones?
Build your aerobic base. And so the other way, you're getting in like shape with your muscularly, is that a word? But you're not building your aerobic base as much. And so it's taking you more energy to do the same thing because your heart's having to beat faster. You can't uptake oxygen as efficiently. So if you're doing an endurance event, it's you want to be able to have that strong aerobic base. And so the Mofstone method or something where you're doing training a little slower below that aerobic threshold is building that base as opposed to just like muscling through it, which is less efficient.
Dude, that's how I did that first Olympic.
Yeah.
And I didn't understand the nutrition part either. We'll probably have to handle that on a different one. But I think I did what's called bonking, like somewhere
Yes.
around like halfway through the 10K run on that Olympic. It was brutal. It just sucked.
I bonked. I get it.
Yeah. All right. So have you like what led you to this method? Have you been doing it the whole time you've been doing triathlon? Because it's kind of it's counterintuitive, right? To the way that we trained as Marines. That's to me, it's such a huge contrast. So how did you come to that?
It was I found it through actually through the nutrition I was doing. So I went on a paleo journey for a while and was eating mostly that I guess ancestral diet and tried to it was a way for me to really wrap my head around not eating bullshit. And this is why, and realizing that even if I worked out a lot, if I was still eating shit, which for me meant like copious amounts of bread, and just higher processed, higher carbohydrate sources. Now it wasn't really my body composition wasn't what I wanted. So the paleo community, I don't know, was friends, I guess, with the Moffatone community. Kind of, they linked up. Like in Mark Sisson's Primal Blueprint, he, is a paleo guy or primal diet guy. His newer book, Primal Endurance, talks a lot about the Moffatone method in addition to eating like they do.
Okay.
So I was like,
so it was
okay.
that Venn diagram type.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. It's funny. All those kind of have a lot in common.
Yeah.
Like you got paleo, primal, caveman, you got the Tim Ferriss, like 4 hour
slow carb
body. Yeah. Slow carb. It's interesting because I was actually looking at keto stuff
Yeah.
I used that to lose quite a bit of weight in 2019. And I started training again as a way to help myself become more fat adapted and doing like zone two, kind of
Yeah.
like Maffetone method style stuff. So it's interesting. Okay. Now the next I have kind of more specific couple questions about form
I'm putting my hat on
and
backwards, so
training
I'm really
protocols.
ready.
Super, you're like on the range, like ready to shoot bullseye, guys. Gotta get into
Yeah.
the black. Yeah. Uh all right. So do you use any specific swim training protocol or method?
Uh, I let's see. Most of my swim training is just what I have learned from the U.S. Masters swim team instruction. Um, Namely, my first coach, Kerry O'Brien, whose son was a Marine. Yeah. Uh, so it wasn't like a specific like you do these drills, then you do a set, then you do a cool down or something like that. Um, but I usually when I swim, I just go with whatever the workout is, which builds in. You do warm up for about 300 yards, then a combination of swimming, kicking, pulling, and then which pulling is for the uninitiated is pulling, put in a pull buoy between your legs and just using your arms. And then doing just different sets of, 25, 75. Like, I think that a goal with a lot of swimming is to engage people by making you do math and like those instead of like just swimming, hey, swim 3,000 yards. All right, let me just kill myself in the middle. So they'll do, okay, you're going to do 4 sets of 25 regular and then 75 slower, and followed by 1 set of 150 medium paced pulling. And so they just break it up in different ways and make you add together, cobble together a longer swim.
Okay. That's interesting. I did something similar. Like I took a swimming PE class at Cal, and I had been good at the survival strokes in the
Yeah.
Marines. Like I
Yep.
was WSQ, and I qualified to go to MESEP, or not MESEP, to McQuist, the instructor of water survival.
That's a fucking tough school.
And yeah, unfortunately, no one told our unit that like Camp Johnson pool was closed for construction and they had canceled the class. So I like showed up on the day like ready to go, and they're like, "What are you talking about, man? They canceled that." So I never got to do it. But even when I qualified for that, like I hated freestyle, man. I hated
Yeah.
it.
Yeah.
I I hit the qualifying time, but I was cooked. I would have It would have been a fight to
Yeah.
survive
Yeah. Yeah.
that
You did what
class.
I was doing before, just
Like,
muscling your way through swimming.
yeah. And then so the class at Cal had, the guy was a swim coach. He was good, but he still did this kind of like the pulling, kicking,
Yeah.
upper body, lower body paradigm. Um, I don't know. I'll report back in maybe a month or so, but I've been trying to mess with this total immersion swimming, or at least the way
Mm.
they think of it.
Yeah.
I think it might be something you would dig if you like looked into it. I had the DVD. I looked around and I had the DVD and brought it to Estonia with me because I
I'm gonna
like
look into it.
rediscovered it.
Yeah, we can talk through it on one of these shows.
Yeah, it's an interesting. They got a lot of their stuff up on YouTube. And Tim Ferriss did like a podcast and I think a TV episode with the guy. So
Well, fucking
interesting
Tim
stuff.
Ferriss did it.
Dude, Tim Ferriss did it, and it's like good enough for me. No,
Yeah.
I did my first 1,000 meter, it's yard in the training plan meter in this pool, and I did 1,000, and I hadn't swam in at least probably since that uh Alcatraz swim.
Yeah.
I hadn't been in a pool, and so I was just like, I did it, but it was like 1,000 yards of pain. And I was like, dude, there's got to be a better way. And then I
Yeah.
remembered that. And then I went down the total immersion rabbit hole. So we'll talk about that another time. Um, okay. Next question. You ready?
Yeah.
Bike form improvement. Like, what tools do you use for this? And if you want to be talking about the direct drive trainer, I have another question about that later. So
Okay.
how do you handle bike form?
Bike form. The most important thing taught to me was making your pedal strokes round. And if you imagine what most people do when they ride bikes recreationally, it's you just push down on the pedal and you trade off. You push down on your left foot, push down on your right foot. So you're just mashing down, which is fine for a recreational bike, but for cycling to get efficiency and power throughout the whole stroke, you want to have basically four steps around that circle you're doing, which is one is pulling up because your feet are clipped in. So you're pulling up with your foot, you're pushing forward in the circle, then you're driving down, and then you're pulling back. It's like the image that stuck in my head that someone said is like you're wiping dog shit off your shoe. So you're getting power, you're drawing power from all angles of the stroke. So it's like four, almost like a block, but you try to make it round. So up, forward, down, back. And the way you improve on that is do one leg drills. So you do one leg at a time for a minute or two, and then switch to the other leg. Anywhere from, I don't know, it doesn't have to be a minute or two. That's long. So you just learn how to be efficient all the way around. And then the other, I guess it's not form so much as like, well, whatever it is pedaling at an RPM, rotations per minute, of around 90. So pedaling a little faster, which for me was uncomfortable. I still probably the most comfortable around 80 rotations per minute. So you're not like in a higher gear pushing harder with your muscles, but you're in a lower gear moving faster, which is going to draw from your aerobic capacity more than just your muscles and burning yourself out.
Which leaves you fresh for the run.
Yeah.
Or at least somewhat fresher. How's that?
Yeah.
My first sprint, my front derailleur was broke. I couldn't get a part in time, and I was stuck on the higher, or I guess lower gear, like the harder ones.
Okay. Yeah.
And that was a fun time, let me tell you.
Jesus, man, I bet. Yeah.
And like people saw me and they were like, dude, are you all right? Like afterwards. So made an impression on an old Schwinn bike, but all right. So then when you do that, so are those drills that you're doing with one leg in a pedal, or do you just kind of concentrate on that? So drills, one.
Yeah.
Leg.
It's easiest to do on a stationary bike where you do one leg, you put the other leg forward or back or just out of the way. You do one leg for a set amount of time, then do the other leg for an equal amount of time. And you'll find too that, usually your dominant leg is pushing more and your other leg is coasting a little bit more. And so this is a way to build up, to kind of match the strength of your legs.
I'm guessing, like learning and building that myelin of this new skill.
Yeah.
Where you have to kind of program it in, just like drills for swimming or something, or running for that matter.
Exactly.
Okay. Then would you do that like prior to maybe one of your bike workouts? Or how do you manage the drill schedule?
Usually the way my coach has built it in is, I warm up for 15 minutes. So just like I do for a run or swim. So I'm warming up, getting my blood flowing, get my muscles awake. And then I do these one-legged drills.
Mm-hmm.
And then the only other drill I've done for cycling was like pedaling at different cadences. That's the rotations per minute or RPM. So I'd go at a very slow cadence, like maybe 60 RPM, and then maybe go up to 100 RPM. And basically, you're kind of bracketing, like you're bracketing fire. So, like, oh, wow, this seems way too fast. So 90 seems a little more doable if I'm doing 100 or 110. Or I'm going way too slow, so it doesn't feel right. So then 90 feels more right.
Okay, that makes sense. That was there. That's part of the progression if you're trying to do the 180 steps per minute for like pose running or ideal
Mm-hmm.
running form. They
Yeah.
had a similar thing where you put the pedometer up and like, or whatever that beeping cadence
Yeah.
thing is. Okay. And so now I guess here, how do you track your, like, I guess you can say like analytic status on the bike as far as, like, for example, the 80/20 plans that
Uh-huh.
I messing with, they have options where, like, we're not talking billing. I'll just say program options. We're not talking like, oh, you can get the subscription
Right.
for,
You can do by heart
but
rate or watts, probably.
yeah, or power, they call it.
Oh,
Is that the
power.
wattage? Yeah.
Yeah.
So which one do you use? Why? And what advantages do you see? So like either way.
Uh, the metrics I use are wattage, so power, and heart rate, and it always comes back to heart rate for me because I want to stay aerobic unless I'm doing a specific workout. So like if you're doing 80/20, 80%
Mhm.
of the time you're doing aerobic workouts, and then 20% of the time you're doing strength or high intensity stuff, right? Or it's anaerobic or a higher heartbeat, which means you're using your muscles more. So
Mhm.
I look at the wattage to see how efficient I am. Um, so the variable would be the wattage if we're going to get like really technical about it. So all things staying constant, my heart rate is staying constant. I'm staying, at for my age, 142 beats per minute or lower.
Mhm.
And my theoretically, my cadence is staying consistent around 90 rotations per minute. So given that, the progression is tracked by how fit I am is by the wattage. So if I'm getting more wattage, given that heart rate and cadence are the same, that means I'm becoming more efficient and more fit.
Okay.
But I always go off of heart rate because I don't want to achieve a certain wattage and like make my heart rate skyrocket.
And overtrain. Right.
Yeah.
Okay. That makes sense. Now, that kind of also goes into what I would call what my next question is. So I know that you use a direct drive, like, bike trainer,
Yeah.
which for those who don't know, that's where your chain kind of directly links onto, like, what would you call it, a rear gear set or something that's
Yeah.
on the trainer.
It goes on to the trainer machine. So you have no
Yeah.
rear wheel on.
Okay. So what would you consider to be the advantages of direct drive over a stationary bike, or even like a wheel on bike
Yeah.
trainer?
Yeah, that's a good question. So the advantage first over a stationary bike is that you are in the bike you're going to be racing in. So the position is the same. So you're training at the same angles, which means you're training the same muscle groups in the same way that you'd be racing. As opposed to stationary bike, you're probably sitting up straight more. Um, so you might be training one way and then race the other way, and you risk getting hurt or just being not as efficient. Still a bet way better than nothing, right?
Mm-hmm.
But ideally, yeah, a stationary bike or riding your bike out on the street. And then but the advantage over uh, a wheel on, where it's using friction to push a wheel in the back on the machine, is that you are reliant on that friction. So sometimes the tire slips if you go a little too hard, if it's
Mm-hmm.
not set close enough. So it's more, less things can go wrong with a direct drive because there's less weak links in the chain. So one weak link in the chain for the two wheel on stationary trainer would be that it slips or it's not touching enough on the back wheel, so that friction and your tires wear down too.
Mm-hmm.
So
Yeah, that the green wheel.
yeah, exactly.
Like I remember that one. Because that's what I was using last time I was training.
Yeah.
Right now I got a stationary bike here. But I really would like to go get one of those like kickers. Um,
Oh yeah, Wahoo kicker.
like
Yeah.
yeah, either a kicker core or I don't know, V5's on sale out here. We'll see. I just I would like to be sitting on the bike I'm using. Now I'm not using aero position, so that's going to be a little bit different. Um, because I don't have to worry about that aspect of the positioning.
Right.
But just because of all the neck problems I've had, I'll be riding a road bike, for
Yeah,
whichever
that
my
makes
end
sense.
race is for the year. So that was actually, remember we did the Ironman Foundation where we were building the service project after the
Yeah,
half
building
Ironman
houses.
Santa Rosa. Yeah. For the mini houses, I
Yeah.
met like a really nice lady who was the head of one of these like triathlon organizations down in Los Angeles. And when I was talking to her, she was like, yeah, I had all kinds of neck problems. And my coach said, do not go into aero position.
Yeah,
Like
just use a road bike.
it's a bad idea. So yeah, so I'll be using a road bike. So how long have you been using a direct drive trainer?
I think mine showed up right before the pandemic, so maybe January of 2020.
Okay. How old was your youngest kid by that point?
uh, three.
I'm asking, this is a dad question. Okay. So you
Yeah.
didn't have to be like, don't stick your finger in there.
Oh, I still have to do that.
You still do? Okay. And
Yeah.
he understood?
Um, yeah. I was tempted to show him like pictures of like fingers that have been like Google mangled finger. Um,
That's
but
my other fear. That's why I was kind of,
you
yeah.
need like a squirt bottle. So if he gets close, you just go.
That's perfect. Uh, all right. So now this final question is more about kind of how you manage, um, training for one of these. Even like, so I'm looking at doing a half Ironman. I'm not sure I'm going to be able to pull that off. I'm okay if I finish the year with an
Yeah.
Olympic done, especially because in the middle of this 18-week training that I'm supposed to be doing, I'm going to the States for like 6 weeks. So,
Uh-huh.
and I have to go to work, or for work, I have to go to Africa, to Kenya for like a week. So I guess my question is, so with kids, with work and work trips, how do you manage, and vacations for that
Yeah.
matter, how do you manage to continue training? Do you have any like way you just like, oh, if I
You can
hit
make it really
50% or something?
simple. You can make it
Yeah.
really simple is when you travel and you don't have a bike, um, you can walk one day, run the next day. And then maybe the days you're walking, you do a little strength workouts or a little calisthenics, a little core muscle work.
Mhm. So you're
So
doing something.
yeah,
So
see, that's
as to,
still building aerobic capacity no matter what you're doing. It might just not be the specific muscle groups that are biking or swimming.
okay. And it might not be what they would, the prescribed workout, but you're still like progressing forward.
Exactly.
That makes a lot of sense. I like that. I'm kind of hoping that, at my parents' house, they have my old Schwinn bike with the busted up. No way I'm getting to 90 rotations a second on it
Yeah,
because,
exactly. That's like when I was in
uh,
San Diego at my grandparents' house. I'm like riding a beach cruiser down like yeah, down the
yeah.
strand. So yeah, and it was
Uh,
fun.
so you managed to just do it and then, or, swap out certain things if necessary, right?
Exactly.
That's good. I like that idea. And what about with like, you know, how do you balance all this stuff with family? I'm sure a lot of people out there have families.
Early mornings. Early mornings, or like at my office, I have a stationary bike and a treadmill in my office. I know not everyone can do that, but you find ways to build it into your life rather than making it extra. So, for
Mhm.
example, before I'd take when my kids were much younger, I would ride my hybrid bike, um, and for my long rides. and have the bike chariot and basically have them hang out or nap while I was doing it. And with my runs, I had one of those jogging strollers and they'd basically fall asleep. So I had one where I could lean the seat back. So that, I was like looking for ways to include them where I could, give my wife a break and, be able to let the kids have fun or take a nap. So I just look for creative ways to do to do those things.
Perfect.
Or
Yeah,
to
especially
like,
because, sorry, go ahead. What was that?
oh yeah, like, so, or if I was taking more time training, just have intentional things I did with the family. Like, okay, we're going to spend quality time going on a hike together or doing this together on Saturday or Sunday. If one of those days I had a really long workout to do. So
That's smart. I think that's a good way to balance it. Oh, you know what? All right, we're gonna cycle back. This is an ADHD kind of thing.
yeah,
But all right, so one of the things about total immersion swimming is that you go to the pool and instead of looking at and saying I'm going to put in 2000 today or 1500 or
yeah,
whether that's yards or meters, you say I'm going to go to the pool and I'm going to get better. And I like that for a few different reasons. It reminds me of what my buddy Carlos said. And actually, did you ever watch Modern Family or Married with Children?
yes. And because
Yeah.
I don't know what the fuck I'm doing, my power is about to die on my laptop.
Oh, all right. Well, all right.
Quality
So
production, ladies and gentlemen.
what he said was basically this guy, the guy who played Al Bundy,
Yeah.
and he was a jujitsu black belt, and his goal was just get in the front door every day.
To
Right.
get there. Yes.
Yes. And then and TI has when you're in the pool and you're swimming, you're supposed to kind of pay attention to how you swim each stroke.
Yeah.
And I was wondering if you do that when you're either running or on the bike. Are you working on your form as you do these workouts? And how,
especially for the
you kind of
shorter
do it?
ones. That's the advantage of the shorter ones, is that you're able to keep that concentration a little more than the longer runs. So for the longer runs, hopefully you can eventually, you check in with your form here and there, but you don't have to be like breathing in, stepping, pushing off, like all that shit, because that would be mind numbing. Yeah, but I'm like, I'll say, okay, I'm going to do for this set, I'm going to concentrate on, for swimming, you concentrate on different parts of your form, most of it. Like for this set, I'm really concentrating on the catch. And this set, I'm really concentrating on the, the push or the pull, different things like that. I notice that with swimming a lot, but I'm trying to check back in. How's my form? And like concentrate on it. And then go back to, I don't know if I'm watching a fucking movie or, listening to music or whatever it is.
Makes sense. All right, cool. Yeah, I think that's it for today.
Yeah, man. Hopefully this is a good question. So
It's helpful because I've been at it for a little over a month now. Well, I guess closer to 2 if you count just building running ability,
Yeah.
And I'm doing all right, definitely improving on everything. But sometimes it's really hard to kind of just let go and trust the process when you're like, oh, dude, like today I ran almost 4 miles, almost. And I'm like, how the hell am I going to do 13.4
Exactly.
or whatever at the
That's
end
the
of
benefit of
all that?
mindfulness. You just keep coming back to the workout you're doing. You're like, the plan is made by someone who knows what they're doing, so you will get there. But to think ahead to the race and worry about the workout you're doing and then go back to the race that you're worried about, it's hard. You won't be able to concentrate on the form or anything else. So the advantage of doing mindfulness practice is that you can come back and be like, you know what, I can improve on these steps I'm taking right now in this run, or these, rotations in my cycle, or this form on my swim. So always coming back.
And I mean, worst case, right? You can go back to the mindset of like patrols or forced marches, and you can be like 1 foot in front of the other.
Exactly.
That's
yeah.
It,
Yeah. And then if you come back to it, what's worst case scenario, with a training plan? No one's going to fucking die. You might just not finish a race. That's the worst case scenario. So it's like, And if you don't, okay, you learn from that.
Exactly. Exactly. Yeah, man. All right. I think we're good, especially since your computer's dying.
Drink water.
Meditate.
Kill motherfucking
Kill
bodies.
bodies. Good.
All right, everyone, that'll do it for this week of Transitions from War. Go ahead and subscribe to the show, follow it. Find us on Facebook, Instagram. You can email me, mike@transitionsfromwar.com with any questions or ideas for the show. And please send the show to people you know who might need to listen to it. Leave us a rating and review on iTunes if you get a chance. And just thanks for listening. All right, everyone. See you next week. Bye-bye.